It's your friend Jody another time. It has been a challenging morning, and this is what my third attempt in doing our morning devotion. But in the same manner where Balaam attempted 3 times, to curse the children of Israel, I am determined to, get this word out so that your hearts can be encouraged. So I am your friend Jody. We are Malut here to encourage your hearts. So this morning I want to make mention of the story of Balak and Balaam, right? Where the donkey spoke to his master. Balaam wanted to curse Israel. You all remember that story, right? Shalom, Jermaine. Shalom, shalom, Apostle Stephen. It's nice to see you this morning. It has been a challenging morning, but the word has to go out. So this morning I want to speak about the battle of the mouth. Now I mentioned about Balaam, and Balaam was a prophet chosen by God to the nations. The problem with Balaam, however, is that he was wicked. So he had evil intentions. He had a bad reputation because Balak, the king of Moab, hired him to curse the children of Israel. Right? He was known to speak ill will of others, and so he was hired by Balak, king of Moab. Blessings, Apostle Stephen. So his authority, Balaam's authority, was in his mouth. It is said that Balaam is the equivalent to Moses, to Moshe. And we can recall where Moses had the same authority in terms of his speech, gave him the authority to represent God. Remember the burning bush experience where God spoke to Moses and he told him, I want you to go to Pharaoh and speak to Pharaoh. So Moses' authority was in his mouth. Balaam's authority was in his mouth as well. So both prophets, had similar authority by their speech. Now, Moses was completely different from Balaam in the sense that Moses was chosen to be a prophet to the nation of Israel, right? While Balaam was chosen to be a prophet to the nation. So one was evil, one was good. Moses spoke life while Balaam spoke death. Shalom, Apostle Russell. Nice seeing you. Right? And so it's a battle of the mouth. Why Balak hired Balaam? He was known for what? Speaking against persons, and he brought death. And because of this, Balak hired him. Now, Balak was fearful because he realized that the Israelites were very victorious, and he was a bit scared of them, coming and taking over his land and property and all of that stuff. So he had to find a way to get rid of the Israelites, the children of Israel. And he did a SWOT analysis, right? In marketing, there's something called a SWOT analysis where, if you identify your competitors and you think about the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats, right? And so that's basically what Balak did. So he realized that their prophet, the prophet of Israel, which is Moses, that his authority was in his speech. And so he said, okay, how can I get rid of these people? It would mean that I need someone who had the same authority, but yet evil. And so he contracted Balaam. Now Balaam, if you read Numbers 22 verse 2 to Numbers 25 verse 9, you realize that Balaam communicated with God. So even though he was evil, he was filled with pride, he knew the frequency of God, he knew the timing of God, but he only spoke to God, or God spoke to him in the night. And remember, night would represent darkness. So God spoke to Balaam in the night, right? But he knew the frequency of God. He knew the timing of God. I mean, yes, he was wicked, but he communicated with God. Now, this leads me to think, how many of us believers know the timing of God? Or we know the timing of our apostle or our bishop? How many of us know the timing of God and operates within the timing of God? And this leads me to the feast, the Moedim of God. You know, we have Passover, we have Feast of Tabernacles, you know, the 7 feasts, Shabbat, Sabbath, etc., etc. Those are considered appointed times. Those times were given by God because what? The heavens are open during those times. And how many of us tap into those seasons to really become close, to be drawn so close to God, to, you know, become intimate with God? Balaam tapped into the frequency of God. Friends, Balaam went on 3 mountains and he offered burnt offering because he wanted to know what God was saying. How many of us are persistent? You know, persistent to know what God is doing, persistent to do the will of God. I mean, this morning, this is what my 3rd attempt to share this message. And I'm like, if Balaam was persistent and determined, Jody has to be persistent and determined as well. Right? So let's continue. Now, Balaam is made up of 4 Hebrew letters: Bet, Lamed, Ain, and Mem. Right? 4 Hebrew letters. And Moses is made up of 3 Hebrew letters: Mem, Shin, He. What's common between the 2 names or the 2 words is the letter Mem. So Balaam ends with the letter Mem. We call it M in English. Moses begins with the letter M. Right? Balaam, the value for the word Balaam is 142. And this speaks to Yah. It means Yah has selected. So even though, you know, Balaam, his speech was meant to curse